Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya, and we are going to be making strawberry shortcake today. And this is not your typical cake or cupcake-like structure. This is more like a very dense, rich, sweet biscuit dough. And if you've never had strawberry shortcake this way, I invite you to get your curiosity stirred up enough to where you might want to make it. And I think you'll like it. But it's strawberry season right now here in Arkansas, and my strawberries aren't ripe, but they're ripe at the store. So we have store-bought organic strawberries, and we're making strawberry shortcake. So join us, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. All right, here we go with our strawberry shortcakes. Now, I have my strawberries thawing because they've been in the freezer. This is from, I don't know, couple or 3 years ago. I don't know. I just found them in the bottom of the freezer, but it says organic strawberries and I'm going with it. So we're going to add, I'm going to take about 2 quarts of strawberries, add, I think I normally add about, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 cup of sugar to them. If you like things really sweet, add more sugar, but I usually go with as little as I possibly have to in any recipe. So I'll go with about 1/4 cup of sugar in 2 quarts of strawberries. So those are setting aside. If you're using fresh strawberries, go ahead and slice them up, wash them and slice them up, of course cap them, and add your sugar to them, and that's gonna bring out the moisture in them, put them in the fridge to chill. So what we're making now is the actual shortcake part of our recipe. So in my bowl, I have 2 3/4 cup of just organic all-purpose plain flour. And I need to add 1/4 cup of sugar to that. And I think I've told you before, I keep raw sugar in my canister over here. This is unbleached raw sugar. Research that if you need to. It's not about the color, it's about the benefits of not having the bleach in it. All right, to that we're going to add 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and I use this kind because it's non-GMO. It doesn't have aluminum in it. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Set that aside. To that, we are going to grate our cold butter into that mixture after I give it a stir. Every time I work on this side of the island, Zoe's over here. She's my darker schnauzer. When I move to the freezer, she has to run to that side. When I'm over there, she runs to that side. I'm wearing her out today. She has to watch everything I do. But when I get to a position she knows I'm staying there, she'll get up on that coolaroo bed thing and just act like, oh, I'm not doing anything. So funny. Okay, so I've given you this demonstration of how to do these when we made biscuits before, and this is basically the same concept. You're just going to grate the butter into that. This is going to take the place of cutting this in with a pastry cutter. If you have a pastry blender or pastry cutter that you prefer to use, then by all means use that. You're going to need your butter to be cold anyway, so I've just found this to be very, very helpful in the last, maybe a little over a year or so I've done it like this. Now the warmth from my hand is the disadvantage of it, especially in the summertime, because I'm melting one end of the butter while trying to grate the other end that's frozen. But I haven't had my butter in the freezer that long because I just decided to make these a while ago. I was thinking I was going to make one dessert, and then I decided, no, I think I had that the last time these friends were over. I was going to make a cherry crisp instead of, I think the last time I made a pineapple crisp. So I decided I wouldn't make that again because I didn't want to duplicate a dessert. You know what? I can remember what we had when anybody came over normally, but I can't remember anything else hardly. But I decided that strawberry shortcake might be good because it's just a pretty, pretty day outside. and it feels summery, even though it's not summer yet. But it's so pretty out there. Perfect day for strawberry shortcake. Now I will tell you this, at this point you'll need to be chilling a bowl and the beaters from your electric mixer. And especially if you have an electric mixer that has a whisk attachment on it, go ahead and be chilling those in the refrigerator or freezer, because we're going to be making whipped cream to top these with. So basically we're going to have a shortcake that we break open and put the strawberry mixture inside that, just the strawberry and sugar mixture, and then we're going to top it with whipped cream. Now we'll be using heavy cream and sugar and vanilla to make our whipped cream. So just to give you a heads up, you'll need to chill that, because if you don't chill your bowl or your beaters, you might end up making butter and not intend to, but it's happened to me, and I'm sure it probably has happened to several people who are watching this. If you've ever attempted to make whipped cream and can't figure out why it didn't make whipped cream, it could be because your bowl and things are not cold. They have to be super, super cold to keep that fat from separating and making butter. So just FYI, if you want to make butter, all you have to do is start with a warm bowl and warm beaters and just beat some heavy cream and you'll get butter, and then the whey that's left over can be made into buttermilk if it's cultured. All right, so we have this to where it's broken up into tiny pieces. I love doing that. That's so fun. Just turns out perfect every time. I also ahead of time have coated my ice cream dasher inside and outside with coconut oil. You can use butter or oil if you want to, but it's going to keep the dough from sticking. This is a pretty sticky dough. It's not dry like a yeast dough, and not even as dry as a biscuit dough. It's pretty sticky because we have eggs and sour cream in it. So just know that you're not doing anything wrong if you think, oh my word, that's so sticky. All right, in a bowl, you are going to put 2 eggs and beat them slightly. And then we're going to add to that a cup of sour cream. And be sure and use the full fat sour cream, no fat or sour cream substitutes in here. I just don't know that it would be the same. Now, if you have full fat or at least 4% fat Greek yogurt, then that would be a good substitution for sour cream, but I just prefer the sour cream. That's what I always use in this. Get that mixed up really well. The friend that I buy eggs from, her chickens eat so well and they forage in their run so much. The yolks are so yellow, it's just not even anything compared to a store-bought egg unless you buy really good quality store-bought eggs. It's amazing how yellow those yolks can get. Okay, we're also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, and I've told you before I make my own vanilla, so I keep it in this little bowl, or in this little bottle with the dropper in it. So a teaspoon of vanilla. So in here we have 2 eggs, a cup of sour cream, and a teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to add this directly into our flour mixture that's had the butter cut up in it. I'm using a rubber scraper because I want to get all of this out of this bowl. I don't want to leave any residue. That's my downside to watching people cook on TV when they leave stuff in the bowl. I just want to yell, no, you're wasting stuff. Get it out of there. Especially if they leave chocolate chips or raisins or nuts or something like that in a bowl. I'm like, take your hand, rake that out of there. You need me over there giving you instructions. That would be a nightmare. Oh. All right. Let's get this mixed up together. Again, it's going to be a sticky dough, but it comes together really nicely. I have my baking sheet over here to my left, and it is lined with parchment, but you could easily just put these on a buttered baking sheet and they'll be just fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'll bake these off now. We have our oven preheating at 450 degrees, so it's a really hot oven, kind of like when you're making biscuits. So we're going to bake these off now, and then before I serve them tonight, I'll just put as many as I need, because this recipe will make more than I need for tonight. I only need 4, but I'll put the rest of them in a bag and stick them in the freezer, and they are so good heated up, you cannot tell that they're something that's been in the freezer. So, pardon me, we'll bake them off now, and then I'll reheat them just a bit tonight, because my oven will be hot from heating up my Greek macaroni and cheese. I think I just heard my oven beep a while ago, so it is preheated. Sometimes you just got to stick your hands in it. Now, I'm not kneading this as much as I am just making sure the flour from the bottom of the bowl is incorporated into the wet part. I'm just trying to get everything wet all the way through. I don't want a big dry lump to show up at the very end, because nobody wants a biscuit just from butter and flour. Whoops, get back in here. You could easily roll this out and cut these into sections and bake these off as shortcakes, but for some reason I've just been doing it with a dasher for years. Once you've had these shortcakes like this, and then somebody else serves them a different way, you kind of become a shortcake snob. And not to be unkind, but you kind of look at those and go, I don't know if I want those or not, because these are just so decadent. They are rich. Everything has flavor to it. It's not fake whipped topping, and it's not like a piece of pound cake or something like that, which is fine. If that's what you're expecting, that's fine. But these are just so good. Okay, going to take our baking sheet. And these are basically just to get them pretty much the same size. We're going to plop these onto here like that. I'm thinking this makes about 8 or 9, but I can't really remember. I think it's been since, well, no. Yeah, maybe it's been since last summer since I've made them. Plop them down on your parchment, then you can move them around once you get them all on there. Nope, it's going to make more than that. Maybe I used a bigger dasher last time. Ooh, it's going to make 12. Well, let's say 11 and a little baby one. Have one diet version. Okay, kind of put these about the same distance from each other on your baking sheet. I'm going to put the small one in the center because the center usually doesn't bake as hot as the outer edges of the pan. And I don't want it to overcook since it's smaller. Okay, take your hand and pat them down just a little bit. You can even make an indentation in the top of it if you're just going to leave these whole, and then put your strawberries in the top of them so you can make them like a little bowl shape. But I'm going to bust these open anyway once we bake them off. And put those strawberries in the center. Fold the top back over it and plop that whipped cream on the top. Ooh, it's going to be so good. Okay, into the oven we go. Not we, but they. And we are going to bake these for 12 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to set it for 12. We'll take them out at that time, and then tonight we'll reheat those again. So that's the little extra time that's given there. So we'll just bake them off then and not have to overdo them. So we'll be back in just a bit. Okay, our oven beeped and our shortcakes are ready. So I want you to get a close-up of that. But you can also see the butter just dripping out the bottom of it. I'll leave these on the pan because we want it to soak that butter back up. So, all right, so these are going to cool down a bit. I will try to video making the whipped cream this evening, and then also video the process of putting the shortcakes together, just so you'll see what I'm talking about. Trust me when I say you need to invite somebody over to share these with you. These are so good. I say that about everything, but they really are. They're so good. So we'll be back soon, and I'll show you how to put it all together, and I'm looking forward to eating these tonight. So happy birthday, Doug. Okay, here we go with our whipped cream. All right, my beater and my bowl have been in the refrigerator, and I'm going to touch it as little as I absolutely have to. But before we get started, I'm going to get just a pinch of salt and put in there, because the salt is just going to bring out that sweetness just a little bit more once I add sugar to it. You don't need a lot of whipped cream or whipping cream in here. I'm only going to put about that much because it will increase in volume several times. I'll get my cup of sugar and put it over, well, not my whole cup, but just the cup that holds the sugar. I'll put it right here. Okay, get it plugged in, and this will take just a bit. You got to be patient with this, but again, make sure everything is as cold as absolutely possible. Make sure I'm getting a picture of this, and it's in there. Okay, at this point, I want to show you what it looks like. This reminds me a little bit of marshmallow cream. So, pour as much as your sugar, of the sugar in there that you think you'll need, and start again. And I'm making this in a tall container. A tall, narrow container is best because otherwise it just flies out. Now right now I've got drips on the countertop, so yeah, it's still going everywhere. But if I had it in a larger round, like a flatter bowl, it'd be flying all over the place. Okay, that's what we want our whipped cream to look like. This is what you should be able to do. Don't do that if you're not absolutely positive you've done it right. And that tastes absolutely perfect. It tastes like thick, smooth ice cream. That's what it should taste like, because that's the ingredients for ice cream right there. So you don't want it too awfully sweet, but it's absolutely perfect right now. Okay, I'm gonna get all these splatters cleaned up. I'll turn the video back on when we start prepping our shortcakes and putting them together, so you'll be able to see the finished product.